Let's cut the bullshit. We've got straight up marketing advice. You should use it.
Just drop the jargon.
Adam and Simon's Bullshit Busters.
Hey everybody, and welcome to the next episode of Adam and Simon Bullshit Busters. I'm Simon Batchelor,
I'm Adam Bastock.
and this week we are going to be talking about why email unsubscribes are actually a good thing. So this may immediately sound a bit counterintuitive. So Adam, do you want to sort of summarise what we're sort of thinking about when we're talking about email unsubscribers?
Yeah, so I think there's two parts to this. One is the more technical, and there's slightly more theoretical, I guess. The technical one is more around having people on your list that are low quality, that are not engaged, they don't really care about you, they're not opening your emails, they're doing a couple of things. They're clogging up your email list. They are meaning that you're normally spending more money on these people because you're having to pay, say, for 5,000 subscribers when only 4,000 of those are actually active, so there's 1,000 there that are no use. And three, it's going to be bringing your deliverability rate down in the fact that, you know, you send out 5,000 emails and maybe 20% of those people open, whereas if you didn't have that 1,000 people who weren't opening it, that rate would go up to 30% or whatever the maths is. The second half that is more theoretical, which we'll dive into a little bit, is more around the idea of having your best customers. You don't need to have everyone in the world on your email list. You only need the people who are actually your core customers and who you actually care about. And this is something that I think a lot of business owners can get caught up in they're chasing these vanity metrics of like, well, more subscribers is therefore better. And it's like, well, actually, would you rather have 10,000 subscribers who don't care about you that much, or 1,000 people who open every single email and who are really engaged and want to come to your events and do everything, everything you do? And it's putting that message out there that there are benefits to it from a technical point of view in terms of your email deliverability and the costs to the business, but also making sure that's not the only reason you're doing it. It's important to make sure that you've got a more refined and considered email list that are going to be more willing to engage with the message that you're sending.
Yeah, I think that's a really good point, because you've got a different way of looking at the subscriber. So rather than the subscriber just being a number in the subscribers column, they are either a customer or a potential customer, depending on where they are in that customer journey. So I think if you're in the nurturing phase with your email list, then actually it's even more important to enable those people to unsubscribe if it's not for them, because otherwise you're just going to annoy them. And actually, if they don't unsubscribe, then your emails are just going to keep landing in their inbox, and they'll just be like, oh, this person just never quits.
Yeah.
And it really can put them off. Whereas if it's actually quite easy for them to just say, do you know what, it's not for me, then actually that's all right, because they might come back. A lot of people think once people have unsubscribed, they're never coming back, because then how will they ever hear about me? Well, they must have heard about you without your email in order to get on the list, right? So we had an instance where this was with the agency. We started emailing people with an incredibly irregular newsletter a year or so ago. And when we did that, we had some clients who we'd literally spoken to the week before unsubscribe. And we were like,
Really?
whoa, we took it really personally. And then Ben mentioned it next time we went in and saw him. And they're like, oh yeah, but I just saw that on LinkedIn. So I'm just happy to get that from you on LinkedIn.
Yeah.
You're like, okay, so it's your choice to choose which channel you digest it. And they were like, the kind of stuff you're sending out, we really like, but we like it on LinkedIn. My inbox, I want different things in my inbox. And the kind of stuff you're sending I don't want it in my inbox. And you have that moment of thinking, yeah, actually, it's a really good point. It's not for everyone, and that's okay. So I think having a smaller list that engage is way more effective for a business. Because as you say, if we go back to our kind of thing that we always talk about, which is when you build an email list, you build an asset for your business. You know, if you go to sell your business and you've got an email list, and let's say it's got 5,000 people on it, the first question the buyer's going to ask is, okay, what's the open rate?
Yeah.
And if your open rate's 10%, they're like, okay, well, it's not really a 5,000 person list, is it? It's actually only a 50%, 500 person list.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's the key thing there is that the bigger number doesn't necessarily mean it's actually real. It's just a bigger number there that makes you feel a bit better.
Yeah. So I think there is definitely an argument for allowing people to unsubscribe, especially if you're sort of pivoting or adjusting what you're doing, then saying, just emailing everyone and saying, hey, look, I used to do this thing. This is why you signed up. Actually, now we're going over here and we're doing this. If you want to come with us, click this button. If you don't click this button, we're going to unsubscribe you. And that can be a good sort of self-cleaning way of actually sort of taking people with you if you're pivoting your business.
I was going to say, I think there's a good thing there, and especially if they're being pushed into that email list from different sources, is having a very clear welcome message that says, hello, here's what we're going to give to you. If you don't want it, click this unsubscribe button, and almost having the call to action as the unsubscribe button, because if they make it past that, brilliant. They're really good people to have on your list.
Yeah.
And if you make it easy, I think that sometimes business owners are like, well, why are you making it easy for people to exit from us? And it's like, well, because they're not interested in us, and if they're willing to exit at that point, we've done something wrong in getting them to there, because they're not the right people and they're not invested in that message. So, yeah, I think make it easy for people to exit as well is really, it can be really valuable, because it just means that you're not getting time wasters.
Yeah. One thing we do with our list is when you sign up for the event on Eventbrite, you get added to the list, but you get a welcome email that says if you want to be on the list, great. If you don't, click the button. Now, I've found anecdotally that quite a few of the people who unsubscribe from that list at that point, because they just think, I'm going to get a load of emails I don't want. Fair enough. So they unsubscribe. During the event they go to, I then generally offer a lead gen, like a lead magnet, which requires them to go to the site and put their email in. Most of those people will then go back to the site, put their email in, which resubscribes them, and they then don't unsubscribe. They then stay on the list for months, because they're then suddenly like, oh, I see the value. And it's that trust exercise, isn't it? Of once they've had the trust of you delivering something great, they will sit on the list for months, because they're just like, this is going to deliver something to me. I'm not quite sure when or what it's going to be, but I know there's good stuff coming. And I think that's the kind of person you want, someone who opens it, at the very least opens it, maybe clicks it every now and then. But yeah, you can learn a lot
built that
from those
relationship.
people. Yeah.
Exactly, yeah.
Whereas if people are just lurkers and they never open it, it doesn't bounce, so you can't do anything with it. They're just inactive. So MailChimp and particularly Drip, and I know Klaviyo have like features or bots you can set up. Well, I know Drip and Klaviyo have this, where you can actually have a bot that says if they haven't opened it or clicked it in 60, and you set the number of days, it just automatically archives them anyway.
Yeah. Especially if you do it over like a 6-month period or something quite broad, if you're a bit concerned, because it will just automatically then start cleaning your list out of people who aren't doing anything anyway. And I think it can be quite a scary moment as a business owner, because you're potentially removing potential customers, but you have to kind of change your mindset to be, well, they're not potential customers because they're not actually opening anything you're sending them. So
if you email them weekly and they haven't opened an email in 6 months, they are not a potential customer.
Exactly. So yeah, I think that's the main message to take away.
Because the problem is you're also then potentially increasing your reputation of being a spam sender.
Exactly.
And the mail servers, like, without getting too technical on it, the mail providers don't like accounts that send a lot of email with low open rates. So you need to keep your account healthy. So if you are sat there thinking, oh my God, my list needs some love and I don't know what to do about it, there is something we looked up just before the recording, and it's called Never Bounce. There's loads of them out there. Just look up email list cleaning services. One of the ones that I've used before that I was very impressed with is called Never Bounce. You basically just export your list from this the email provider, load it into Never Bounce, and it gets rid of stuff like info at, accounts at, hello at, inquiries at. It just strips them because they're all generally crap emails. And it then goes away and it actually pings the ones it thinks are good. So it doesn't send them an email, but it uses a technical thing that checks if the email address is live and ready to accept email. And if it is, it then comes back and confirms that is an active email address. Exactly. It does go and find, so let's say you've got john.smith@company.com and he left 10 months ago and his email's now a bounce, it will clear all that out for you.
Yeah. So it's well worth doing, especially if you're about to migrate or anything like that. It's good
they're really cheap to use. They're like under 1 cent per email. Basically, for about $5, you can clean your list. It's really, really cheap. So highly recommended. Also, if you're about to import a load of emails into your email software, then again, definitely worth giving it a clean before you put those emails in. Your email provider will thank you and love you even more. So, I hope that has cleared up for you all about why unsubscribes are actually a good thing, and how you can make a better list perform better. So thank you very much for listening and watching. Do give us a follow or a subscribe on the platform you are listening or watching to us on. You can, as always, connect with us at our LinkedIn group. So do come and find us there. Just search for Adam plus Simon on LinkedIn and we will pop up at the top of the list. And thanks very much for listening, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Just drop the job.
Adam and Simon's Bullshit Busters.